Thank you. I have sort of a general question with specific application. I think I understand that my vibration determines, first of all, what I perceive and therefore my immediate experience, and then over time, if I understand correctly what you've said, brings circumstances which are consistent with that vibration.
Perfectly stated.
Thank you. My question is, what about people whose lives, whose state is joined, so then circumstances are going to show up for both of them? Say, two people who are married or two people who are business partners. Only one set of circumstances can show up, and the circumstances are going to be consistent with the vibration, that one of them has, that the other one has, that the dominant influence has.
Well, your statement implies that the situation is static and would be viewed exactly the same by each of them.
Well, no, I understand. Say a certain number of dollars show up, and it either is or isn't enough to pay our bills. Obviously, my experience of that could be totally different from my spouse's. Same circumstances, different experience.
Well, we love the way you're setting this question up because you're making the best argument that we've ever heard for separating the actual in the moment action journey from the emotional journey.
Right.
In other words, what is what it is, and it's being perceived in whatever way it's being perceived. But the thing that we want to start with is that the action journey is we don't have enough money to pay our bills right now. The emotional journey is one could be pessimistic about it and one could be optimistic. One could be really fearful about it and one could be hopeful. And the difference in that vibration makes the difference between how long this stays as it is and gets worse or stays as it is and gets better. Do you believe that you and your partner are offering your vibration in response to what you're observing? Or could there be something else that is causing you to offer your vibration? Because if what you're observing is the only reason that you could offer a vibration, then things can't change.
No, very much the opposite.
So if what you're observing is not the reason for your vibration, then now you are two people who can create independently of one another and of the circumstance because you're offering a vibration that's independent of the circumstance.
Sure.
That was really good. Let's say that from what you're living and not enough money, you both launch a strong rocket of desire relative to a stronger flow of money. And let's say that you have been deliberately forking in a way that feels better, and you can feel the tension relaxing in you, and you're not nearly so worried about it, even though you have no good reason to not worry, but you've brought yourself into a place where you're lighter and feeling better. So you've come into vibrational alignment. And the subject is about your mutual money. Well, when one comes into alignment, you are powerful enough not just to influence the two of you, you could influence a nation. In other words, one who's connected to Source is more powerful than millions who are not. So now one coming into alignment is plenty enough to change the circumstances of the finances of your family. So let's say you came into alignment. Let's say your partner, however, has the same powerful desire, maybe even more, but isn't in alignment and is annoyed that you are. Because you're not facing reality. You're living in a dream world. And she's trying to pay the bills with money that she does not have. And you're not joining her with the right sort of, we're making this all up, but you're not joining her with the right sort of response to this. But you don't notice her because you've become so exhilarated about the new thoughts that you've found, and you have practiced them so much independently of her that you're not bothered at all by what she's feeling. And so you are able to ignore her and hold out your expectation of well-being. So the circumstances and the events are evolving for you, and you're right on the brink, as you can feel by your optimism, of something wonderful happen. But she is really annoyed by you, and since you live together, it's sort of hard for you not to feel what's going on. And now she's getting harder and harder to ignore, because the more you're ignoring her, the more she wants to call you at work and ask you to come and get her, and so to speak. And so now you're beginning to turn your attention away from your sense of where you're going, and she's starting to get to you, and now your concern about her concern has a split in your energy. So now you're not in alignment as you once were, and so now things are not moving as swimmingly as they were, and now you're blaming her and she's blaming you, or what? In other words, that's a common sort of scenario. So what we're getting at here, and we suppose that the question that rules the day always is, how can I maintain my connection in a sea of those who don't? Even more pointed, how can I maintain my connection when I live with a pesky one who seems determined not to live hers, and we're making this all up, or is irritated when I am connected? And we say, you really have to leave everybody else out of the equation, and you have to finally once and for all say, for my good and for your good, I have to find a way of aligning with what I want. And unless I do that, no good can come from it, you see. And usually, if you can practice those thoughts, and you practice the forking, and you learn words that soothe them, that make them stop worrying. In other words, in this analogy that we have concocted here, that is exaggerated dramatically from what you are actually living, we would say to any person who was not up to speed with where we are or where we're wanting to be, we would put tremendous amount of effort into soothing anyone into a place of feeling better if they're not feeling good is making it hard for us to feel good. But we wouldn't be doing it for them, we would be doing it for us. In other words, we would be doing it for the good of the mission. For the good, in other words, do it for whatever reason you can, but understand that if you don't feel good, you've got nothing to give. That was pretty good.
That was great.
And we've created quite a rascal of a composite partner for you, haven't we?
It's wonderful, and I can feel how that's addressing a lot of other questions as well. I appreciate that.
Yes.
In this particular situation that I'm talking about, she's actually fine and creating as well.
Yes.
It's more that her focus is on lack, and my focus is on where it can be.
Yes.
And I think that slows things down.
But here's the thing. When your focus is on her focus of lack, where's your focus?
Yeah, sure. I guess my first question is kind of metaphysical. If her focus were exclusively, if she were forking always toward lack, then it would seem as though what would show up in terms of money in her life would be lack. And if I were forking entirely toward alignment with abundance, then the money that would show up in my life would be abundant. Now, I understand the same number of dollars could feel abundant to me and could feel like lack to her, but there's going to be a certain number of dollars either way. And are you saying that the more aligned carries the day?
Yes. Always. That's why, negative as you are, you still survive. In other words, well-being abounds. This earth continues to spin in its orbit. And you should listen to the comments you make. In other words, well-being is huge in comparison with the not well-being in any moment. And let us tell you why. So you're living contrast, and she's launching rockets of desire, and so have you. So your vibrational escrow is full of all of these things that you all want. And you see this as a family project. In other words, you can't help but combine in your intentions and expectations. And so you're all sort of wrapped together. So here's this collective dream. Collective for your family, or collective for your mass consciousness, or collective for your nation, or collective for your world. In other words, you're all creating these vibrational escrow things. And then the question is, how much time is it going to take me to get up to speed with what I'm dreaming? And when you do, you collectively, you pull everyone that you're thinking about with you. That's why Jesus could look at someone dripping their illness, and he could influence them into wellness, because the vibration of well-being is huge in relationship. So this is the thing that we want you all to get focused on a little bit here. We've been talking about these 2 points of vibrational relativity. Where am I? What is it that I desire that Source is in agreement with? And where am I in vibrational relationship to it? And as you deliberately close that gap between the two, little by little usually, and you come into vibrational alignment with it so that you are offering one signal, oh, what a signal that is. And people just feel the power of your signal. When you really feel that way, a person in strong doubt is somehow moved. Haven't you had the experience where you're standing at the front desk of a hotel or anywhere where someone is going to help you with something, and you're engaged with someone that you can tell either doesn't have a clue or doesn't want to have a clue. So you can feel that everything they're telling you is iffy. Esther placed a luncheon order with someone like that just a little while ago. And she's thinking, our lunch might be there and it might not, because she could feel the limpness with which he responded to her. She could feel he's not up to speed with lunch. And sometimes you engage someone that you can just feel you're tracking right along. In other words, you just have utter confidence that you are conveying something that they are receiving. In other words, you're locked on. The transmitter and the receiver are locked in. And isn't that a satisfying experience? But when you're transmitting and they're not locked on, you're just whistling into the wind. In other words, and it's not satisfying at all. When you get locked onto your signal, when you're locked on and you are sending a signal, what happens is those who will easily match your signal come and lock on with you. And your work isn't to focus on somebody that's got it set on another dial and suck them into your signal. Your work is to keep your signal strong, and the universe will deliver to you whoever and whatever and whenever that you need in order to have the achievement of what you want. And that's why we want you to tend to your signal and your signal alone. We certainly understand in this arena of co-creating, and certainly in a relationship situation, that it is interesting to know how what each of us are doing is affecting the whole. But we want you to leave this gathering saying, what each of us are doing is irrelevant to me. What I am doing matters infinitely to me. And I love you and I'm glad you're with me, but I'm focused upon bringing myself into alignment, and I'm going to allow law of attraction to take care of everything else. And it will.
Okay, I have a practical question out of that now then. That's really great. We're also doing a real estate business together. And it's not that she focuses on lack. Actually, more accurate would be that, as I see it, her vibration is things have to be complicated and take a long time, and my vibration is things can happen real fast.
Well, the difference that we can feel is her vibration is more about the reality of what's been happening. She would be a good scientist, where she needs the facts in order to support anything that she's really going to be spewing.
Yeah,
where you're more
accurate.
Based on faith.
Yes.
Yes.
So, before we got together, money was no problem for me. It just showed up whenever I wanted it. In the real estate business, I'm focused on buying houses, and houses to buy when opportunities show up very quickly and easily. She's been focused on selling houses, and the houses have been hard to sell. So my practical question, well, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong entirely, that has to do with her vibration about the area of the business that she's focusing on, and that I have been paying essentially no attention to it.
But here's the thing that we want you to hear.
Yes.
Is that if you were focused upon buying and selling, in other words, if you were really feeling the lightness and ease of all of this, and were not affected by what she's doing, then they would be selling, and she could be taking the credit for it.
That's great.
Whether she deserves it or not. But the fact that things aren't happening the way you really want it to doesn't just mean her vibration's out of whack.
Okay.
It means yours is too.
Okay.
And that's really the question. Could I get my vibration so in alignment that no matter who's around me, things will go well? And we say, absolutely. So then here's the biggest question of all. Then why don't I do that? And we say, it's because most of you are feeling competition of the resources, not specifically in this situation now, but in life in general. In other words, most of you are wanting things to go well, and wanting to be the reason that things go well, and wanting people to understand that you're the reason that things go well. And we want you to just want to feel good, and then know that everything will go well when you feel good. In other words, if I can feel good about this, then things will go well. And then somebody's harping, well, you shouldn't feel good because things aren't going well. And then you say, okay, so now I've got to find a way of feeling good about this, even though you don't feel good about it, and you're irritated that I do feel good about it. And we say, that's when you got to lift up off the practicality of the issue and focus, and that's really what faith is. Faith is belief in the process, belief in the laws, belief in your vibration, not belief in the specifics of what's actually happening. Jerry has learned as he watches Esther drive, he'll say, look over there, and he notices that she tends to veer wherever he's pointing. So now he just says, look over there, because he just really wants her to go right down the road. And Esther laughs about it because she doesn't mean it. In other words, he says, oh, did you see the sunset? And off they go toward the sunset. Oh, did you see that goat? Off they go toward the goat. And it's a little frightening with the monster bus.